Hi everybody, Russell here from VectorVest. Let's get into the weekly video. So the first thing I want to do here is I'm going to click on viewers, right? So click on viewers, and what you want to do is you want to go to stock view. We'll come to this shortly. So click on stock viewer, and in here what I've done, right? So by default, typically when you load up stock viewer, the default layout will be by VST. Okay, so the layout will be by VST. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to scroll all the way over here. It's one of the last columns here, and you've got this one here called market cap, brackets M, market capitalization. So if I click it once, there we go, it shows the triangle pointing down. So this is the biggest companies in Australia in descending order. So you can see over here, if we come all the way over here, Commonwealth Bank, BHP, CSL, etc. So what I've done this week is I've removed the four that we analyzed last week. Okay, so the biggest companies here backed out the four that we analyzed last week. I jotted them down and I created a watch list. So what you're going to do here, so I'll show you exactly the 10 that we're going to analyze here. Watch list viewer, and I went to my watch lists, and this is the one that I created. I created this one called 10 blue chip stocks to analyze, or 10 blue chips to analyze. So what you'll do there is effectively, once you've selected on, let's go over to the side here on my watch lists, right, select the group, create a new watch list within the group, and then give it a name that you're happy with, okay, and then you'll click add. In this particular case, and there's the name I've given it, all right, so 10 blue chips to analyze. And then all I did is I populated with the 10 biggest stocks that we haven't looked at yet. Okay, so you might just want to jot these down to put them in. So you just add them in. So you go here, you type in FMG.AX, BHP.AX, Rio.AX, etc., etc., until you've got them all in. And then you click on add, and it will populate it into the watch list for you. Okay, so here they are: FMG, BHP, Rio, WES, MQG, NAB, WBC, RMD, ANZ, and TCL. Okay, so once you've created the watch list, now the fun begins, because now you can effectively start to see exactly what you're looking at here. And the first thing I like to do, per last week, I like to look at the growth rates and the VST scores. Okay, so I can see the top VST ranked stocks here: Fortescue, BHP, Rio, Wesfarmers. So straight away, you've got a fair idea as to the ones that are really going to jump out. Coming down to the bottom of the list, you can see here ANZ and Transurban Group have got the least favourable VST scores. So straight away, you've got a fair idea that these are not necessarily going to be the best companies. Okay, so first thing first, I'm aware of the top VST stocks. Then I also want to look at GRT. So click by GRT. These are companies that are going to be looking to grow their earnings quite significantly. Fortescue, ResMed, BHP, Wesfarmers gives you a good idea. Rio. Companies coming under pressure: Macquarie, ANZ, NAB, Westpac Bank, and Transurban Group. Look at that, Transurban -7, so it gives you a fair idea there already. Okay, so going back to VST, what I'll do here is I'm just going to graph the top 4 here. All right, so I'll grab the top 4. They've all got positive GRT scores, and they've all got good VST scores on average. An excellent score for Fortescue Metals, BHP, Rio, very good, and Wesfarmers not bad there at 1.17. Let's graph these given companies, graph selected. So in the weekly essay there, I've referred you to looking at 3 different types of graphs that you can put on in combination with your price. Okay, so I'll just clean this up for now, just make it a little bit easier to see. So to begin with, the almighty EPS, this is the key one. So all the ones to put on the graph, your EPS is the king, all right, or the queen, all right, so it's the top one there. That's the one that you want on there, okay? And you can see here, Fortescue Metals, beautiful set of earnings. Yes, they've come under a little bit of pressure, just a bit of a breather, okay, but take it in the overall context, very, very good set of earnings. Put on net profit margin. So this company is making around about 40 cents in the dollar currently. All right, so 40 cents in the dollar for every $1 of sales. So that's incredibly impressive. Very, very profitable company, and they are continuing to grow their sales. So you look at that and go, wow, that really jumps out, right? Next one here, BHP. Yeah, wow. Again, great set of earnings. Net profit margin's been holding steady and rising in recent times here, and sales are continuing to grow. So this jumps out. Surprise, surprise, the top VST stocks. Next one here, Rio. Yes, it too. Nice set of earnings. Not as strong as, say, BHP or Fortescue Metals, but still holding very well. And your net profit margin holding steady. And your sales, look at this, sales are continuing to grow. So that jumps out too. Yes, it's a good stock on average. And here, Wesfarmers, well, you can see sales have come off a bit. And in recent times, yes, the sales are coming back up. So that's good to see. Net profit margin has been a little bit lumpy. It's come off, from, where was it, up here, close to 7, then down to about at 6 odd. All right. So although it's not as profitable as, say, FMG for every $1 of sales, don't forget that's a huge amount of sales being done. 33,247 million. Right. So this is in millions, and yes, the earnings are cranking along nicely too. So that jumps out. All right. So surprise, surprise, like that. Your top 4 VST stocks really jump out. And if you come down to the bottom here, your bottom 2 over here, all right, you'll see quite a different story here. Now, ANZ, let's look at the earnings as they stack up over the last couple of years. So under a lot of pressure, but look at this, very interesting. The earnings are starting to turn around, and that's positive, all right? If we look at net profit margin is starting to come up too. It's been under a fair bit of pressure. It's starting to come up again. And, well, sales are not quite sort of there, are they? All right, so sales are still sort of down in doldrums. Yes, the sales on average that are taking place are more profitable, which is helping to pick up those earnings, but sales are down a bit. So we just need to be aware of that. And Transurban, you can see earnings under a lot of pressure. Your net profit margins really come off quite badly in recent times, and sales continue to plummet relative to where they were a year or 3 ago. So TCL will definitely be your bottom performer of the group. And surprise, surprise, it's got the lowest VST score. And ANZ is right up there in terms of not doing too well either. If I graph Westpac Bank, this one really jumps out to me here as well. Yes, the earnings are just starting to turn the corner, so that's a positive sign along with net profit margin. But look at it in the context over the last year or 2. Your earnings have been under a lot of pressure, so too has your net profit margin, so too have your sales. So there we go. The ones that really jump out, Fortescue, BHP, Rio, Wesfarmers, and the other one that actually jumped out too was ResMed. Now ResMed, its VST score is not that strong at 1.04, but take a closer look over here, and if I pull it back just a wee bit over here, just so you can see what's happening, we've had a big uplift in sales. All right, net profit margin has come off. Okay, it was very, very high. It was making a lot of money. It did come off a bit, but let's look at where it is now. It's still very profitable, 23 cents on the dollar. Sales are holding steady and earnings are holding steady. So this one is looking fairly attractive, provided that sales can continue to crank up and as long as net profit margin holds steady. But what I like about this one, apart from the profile, all right, so it's not a very smooth left-right profile, but what I do like about this one is the fact that it's got a very strong earnings growth rate profile outlook there at 24%, but just be aware it is very, very volatile. Okay, so if you just look at the price in recent years, incredibly volatile, up and down, but the general trend on average has been very good. Okay, so it's got very strong earnings growth rate there at 24%, which bodes well for those earnings. Okay, so here's one that also jumps out to me as well, and that's how easy it is to do with VectorVest. So in conclusion, for part 2 here, pay attention to your VST score, very important. And the other one I like to really pay a lot of attention to is earnings growth rate, because look at this, when I click on GRT, look at the negative GRTs, Macquarie, ANZ, NAB, Westpac and Transurban. Surprise, surprise, these were the ones that didn't have that greater profile. The ones with the strong earnings growth rate, Fortescue, ResMed, BHP, Wesfarmers, Rio, those were the ones that jumped out. And the other way, of course, is to sort it by VST. Okay, so if you come back over here, and here we are, click on VST, there we go. So VST and GRT. Here's one last thing I'll leave you with. Here's a great way to sort it as well. Come into here, click on your sort. All right, so I've just clicked on here, just up here, and we could do something like VST times GRT. So we come in and have a look over here. VST, have we got a VST times GRT? No, we haven't, so let's build it in a custom search. So what I'll do here, I'll click Tools, Custom Field Builder. Let's call it VST times GRT, and then I'm just simply going to write it in, VST times GRT. And I'll say to VectorVest validate it, yes it works, good. Save the changes, VST times GRT, it's now saved. Let's exit, click on sort, here we go, primary sort on the drop down here, and now let's go and look for VST times GRT. And there it is, VST times GRT. That's one you've just created. Push OK. And now VectorVest will sort it by VST times GRT. Here we are, FMG, RMD, BHP, Wesfarmers, and Rio. So just another way you can consider looking at that as well. How quick and easy is that to analyze your blue chip stocks? So straight away, we would know that we'd need to be careful with Westpac Bank and Transurban, as we saw. NAB and ANZ as well. Your best combinations of VST times GRT, here they are at the top of the list, the ones that we've spoken about as well. So you've got a couple of really interesting ways to analyze. The key ones there, stick to VST, stick to GRT. Those ones really jump out in Australia to analyze blue chips. And if you like, also you can consider VST times GRT. Okay, so I hope you got a lot out of this. Until next week, bye for now.